Blim was my imaginary stuffy kingdom when I was 4. So it was called Blim Blim. And I think as a child, I had a lot of anxiety, and I actually had such a vivid imagination that my stuffies were real, and they spoke, and they were like actually real. So if I was playing with them and one fell off the chair, I thought, oh no, they got hurt. And so I created the land of Blim Blim, and then I go through this intense ritual of blimatizing each one by giving them a name, then go through this name-giving ritual. And once they were given their Blim name, they were immunized from pain. And so it was the land of Blim Blim, and it was like such a big part of my childhood. Like I literally lived there in my head. My name is Ziggy. I also go by Yuriko or Y or Lily when I'm ordering a simple beverage at a coffee shop.
Sorry, is that like a David Bowie reference or?
No, it's this guy.
I love him.
The nice thing is Blim kind of caters to a real wide audience, from West Van weirdos to downtown East Side weirdos. People will either love this place or they'll hate it, or it'll confront them and make them feel uncomfortable because it's so expressive of its being. You know, it's unapologetically Blim, and sometimes it angers people.
Sorry. No, this is good footage.
Don't put this in the video. Here's some of the posters from all the bands that we used to have and show art shows. And then here's all the cards from 2005 up till now, when there was art shows. Everyone who had a show would do a cover. And then when the gallery closed, we'd have different graphic artists do a series of cards. I'd sort of do my business organically, like what's working, what's not working. I'm an artist who fell into doing business. So generally I have to do stuff for the store if it inspires me. If I try to do stuff just for the sake of business, it never works. So whatever I do has to be motivated from my inspiration. We try to carry mostly non-factory produced clothing. So one of a kind, few of a kind. Also vintage, a sustainable retail. I'd like to call like the slow fashion movement. Custom made, which is independent artists' original work. Proceeds are going directly to the artist.
Did it start as like, hey, I want to open a store?
It didn't start out, it's sort of an organic process. I mean, I've been doing experimental art spaces ever since I was 18. It started out as like projects in my home with different artists. In Calgary, I had my first business, which was called Kisatan. It was kind of like cyber mocktail speakeasy, which kind of was, I don't know if it went over the heads of most people. It was kind of an alien space. And the only other people liked it were these B-movie actors from LA who were shooting a mini-series. They loved it and they hung out there. But it was more like a club space for post-art school students to meet and congregate and reminisce and to have shows, because after art school, you know, 1%, it's like a sad statistic that 1% of all graduates, sorry, I forgot I turned the music down. If they're determined, I usually meet them at the door. Hi, I just wanted to... Sure.
I wanted to check out the jacket.
Which jacket? This one? I'm just filming something right now. Sorry, I hope this isn't making it awkward for you. It's very casual. It's not film industry. It's by any standard. It's school project. This is Jamie. Maybe you should do a documentary on Jamie. She runs many art studios in the city. I've always grown up in the rougher parts of the neighborhood. As an artist, you either live in the rougher areas because the rent is cheaper, or there's always art galleries or underground art spaces, and they always tend to exist in the rougher part of town because it's more affordable and you can make noise and people are less likely to bug you. There's so much life. Like, I feel like this neighborhood, people say, oh, it's messed up. There's a lot of problems, but there's also so much life. Like, everyone's like livelier here, and yes, it's crazy, but it's also more lively too. I did practice as a visual artist for 5 years after art school, like grant writing and touring and doing shows. But it's a really hard gig to sustain unless you want to go to the next level as a funded artist. So this made sense to me. And also at the time Blim started, two of my favorite underground art venues had just shut down when I moved to Vancouver. One was the Sugar Refinery, which was a restaurant which served vegetarian food and then catered to experimental live music. The other one was the Blinding Light, which was also experimental film performance and gift shop in Gastown. And I was like, I just moved here. I was, oh good, I get to be part of these places. Both of them shut down. And I'd been doing stuff in Calgary, so I was just like, okay, maybe this is the universe telling me to start something. And then one thing led to another. I saw this amazing space. It was this penthouse space just over by the Chinatown gates that was up for lease. I just booked it. And then I'd have this little voice say, okay, talk to this person. And I would go talk to that person, and then the voice would be like, contact all your people from Calgary who are living here now, who are doing art. Contacted them, and it just all seemed to happen really easily.
Yeah. Is that you in the video in the website, by the
way? Just the hands.
Just the hands.
Wait, I got.
Oh, goodness. Oh.
He's gonna have this as a very, very good.
Blim was an underground penthouse above ground on the top floor of the electrical building, and people had to find the building first, and then they get buzzed in, and this gate would magically open, and they didn't know who was doing it, but my buddy Richard was up at the top with binoculars and a remote, and he'd like open the garage, and then they'd be like, and then they kind of wander in, then they go to the door and get buzzed in and go up the elevator and down this hall and up this stairwell, and then when they open the door, there'd be someone sitting at a table. Hello.
We've been
$5, please.
We've been expecting you.
I'm like a furry without knowing I'm a furry.